Hey everyone, Cruising with JT here, and today I'm going to share with you my top 10 tips for first time cruisers. There are many unknowns in the world of cruising for those going for the first time, and they have lots of questions. So, this video will help you plan accordingly and make the most of your first ever cruise vacation. Get ready because you will get addicted to cruising. Here we go. And be sure to hit that like button, everyone, and if you're not subscribed, please do subscribe to my channel and also enable those notifications. Tip number 1, always make sure you do your research and plan ahead. One thing I recommend to everyone I know is to try and book your cruise as far in advance as possible, as this will get you the best rates along with getting your choice of room and location. You also want to narrow down the type of cruise line, ship, and itinerary that will serve you best for your first experience. No cruise line and ship are exactly alike, and every experience caters to different people. So you can do your own online research or work with a travel advisor who will help guide you to the perfect first cruise. You can also ask your family and friends about what cruise line and ship they like and recommend for your first cruise. You'll get plenty of answers, but after doing your own research, talking to an expert like a travel advisor or someone in the cruising community, and watching some YouTube videos, you'll know what the best first cruise will be for you. If you're looking for a trusted travel advisor for your first cruise, feel free to email me at cruisingwithjt@gmail.com and I'll get you connected to one of my amazing partners at MEI Travel. They've taken great care of me, my family, and my friends for over 10 years, and I know you'll enjoy working with them as well. I've included their information in my description below. Tip number 2, make sure you choose the right cabin for your first time out. If you don't like enclosed spaces, then I would avoid getting an inside cabin, but if you're on a budget, then it may make sense. Lots of other factors come into play here as well, such as the location of the cabin, the view you get, and the overall size along with how many people it can hold. Standard cruise cabins aren't usually as big as hotel rooms, so it's something you'll want to keep in mind. Price is a big factor to consider as well. So while a balcony cabin offers great views, they do cost much more than an inside or ocean view room. So keep all this in mind. Many times folks say that they don't spend much time in their room, and that could be true, but my response to that is if you had a nice room, you would want to spend more time in the room to get away from the crowds and just have your own private space and retreat to relax and enjoy. If you are prone to motion or seasickness, I usually recommend getting a cabin midship and closer to the waterline or on a lower deck as there is less motion of the ocean there. You'll also want to stay away from the forward of the ship as that area feels the most out of any location on the ship. Tip number 3, always arrive at your port city at least a day early. I can't tell you how many times I've heard stories from cruisers who fly in the day of their cruise and then run into flight delays and cancellations, adding more stress to their well-deserved vacation. Some of the biggest benefits of arriving at least a day beforehand is you can get your vacation started early, explore the port city, and eliminate any stress as you're already where you need to be to board your cruise ship. So any travel interruptions are out of the picture. It's so important to come in early, trust me, no matter where you live. Make the trip happen at least a day before. You'll be so glad that you did and you'll feel super relaxed. Tip number 4, one of the most challenging areas to plan for during your first cruise is the amount of clothes you need to take. How many clothes do you actually bring, and will you be taking too much or too little? One thing I always recommend to folks is check the weather in your departure city and ports of call a few days before your cruise begins. That way you know what to pack. For example, Alaska is one of the most challenging cruise regions in the world because the weather can be very unpredictable and vary greatly from week to week. Often you hear folks mentioning to just layer and adjust accordingly, and while I do agree that layering is important, it's more important to know what the weather will be when you go. While the weather may change, at least you'll have a good idea about whether it'll be cold, warm, or hot. Try not to overpack as well. So many people pack way more than they need, so pack smart by taking your essentials, toiletries, and perhaps a formal night outfit. Always make sure you pack any important items and necessities in your carry-on because your check-in luggage may not arrive at your cabin until later on embarkation day. So you want to make sure you have items such as your bathing suit and medicine with you at all times for easy access. Tip number 5, as soon as you board and get settled in after you drop off your bags and have a nice first meal, grab a drink and take some time to familiarize yourself with the ship and its layout. You may be surprised at how big a cruise ship is and amazed that this is what a cruise ship looks like, so you want to take some time to look around. Don't worry if you don't see everything on the first day, you'll have plenty of time to see the entire ship as the week goes on. Try to locate important areas such as dining venues, entertainment venues, guest services, the main lobby, any emergency exits, and of course your muster station. You can ask guest services for a deck plan so you can see where things are, and most newer ships have a place on every deck that shows you where you are, what's on the deck you're currently on, and what other decks offer as well. Tip number 6, speaking of muster stations, this is very important. The e-muster drill is a mandatory safety briefing conducted at the beginning of your cruise. You will want to make sure you pay special close attention to these instructions so you know where your designated lifeboat station and gathering area is in case of a real emergency. Safety is always top of mind for the cruise staff and crew, so this should be your priority to complete. The ship will not sail away until everyone has completed their E-muster station, and families and kids can complete one for the entire family. And then the crew members will scan you off as completed and you're good to go. The captain and staff will usually sound the ship's siren a few times so you know what to expect in case something were to really go wrong. Hopefully everything remains smooth sailing as possible for your first cruise. Tip number 7, make your dining reservations on board if you didn't get a chance to do that before the cruise started. Most cruise lines nowadays do give guests the ability to pre-book their dining reservations. These typically fill up very fast as days and times for a certain venue could be limited depending on the meal you want to enjoy. Dinner time is usually the most popular at specialty restaurants on any cruise ship, so you want to snag those first if you can. You're probably thinking there's so much to do on the first day, and while that is true, know that once you get a lot of these things taken care of, the rest of your cruise will go smoothly since you've already completed your reservations for dining and shows. Tip number 8, speaking of shows and reservations, you want to make sure you're able to secure the day and time for the most popular shows on board if you aren't able to book them in advance. Most cruise lines do allow guests to pre-book their shows before boarding, so it's one less thing they have to worry about on embarkation day, but some of the cruise lines don't offer you to do this, so you have to take care of it as soon as you board. This includes onboard activities as well. For example, on Norwegian, you can only book activities such as go-karting and laser tag once you board the ship. On Royal Caribbean, you can only book the North Star and iFly once you board the ship, but recently I've learned that they actually are able to have guests book these experiences online via their cruise planner account. So keep checking your online account and see if they have those offerings. Again, it's very important to check out the variety of shows and entertainment being offered as they cater to all sorts of interests, from Broadway shows to comedy shows to magic shows. There will be so many experiences you'll get to enjoy on board, and I know you're going to love it. Tip number 9, try to avoid the buffet regardless of what cruise ship you're boarding on embarkation day. The buffet is notorious for being extremely packed on the first day. As soon as folks board the ship, they want to grab a bite to eat and get something to drink, so naturally they head to the buffet first, have a nice meal, and then head to the pool deck for a drink. There are usually a few lunch options available on embarkation day, including the main dining room if you're okay with more of a sit-down meal to get things started. The benefits of a buffet are it's quick, convenient, and you get to explore the ship much more sooner, which is likely something you want to do. Check out the daily planner that you may have received physically or see it on the phone app as well for your cruise line so you know exactly what offerings are available on embarkation day. And finally, tip number 10, after you get a majority of the above done, just sit back, relax, take in the special moment that you're experiencing on your first cruise. It is a really exciting feeling, it's very special, it's a lot of fun, and cruising has always been known as a luxury, but now that these big cruise lines are catering to the masses, the growth potential now for this industry is unlimited. Statistics show that over 94% of folks who sail on their first cruise go back for their second cruise in less than 1 year. This makes cruising the highest rated satisfaction out of any area within the travel industry. This is why myself and so many others love cruising more than anything, and I know you will love your first cruise as well. I hope this information helps you in your first cruise planning, and as always, if you have any questions or thoughts, please feel free to leave them below in the comments, and be sure to like this video and subscribe if you want more cruising content and tips. If you want to book a cruise, while I'm not a travel agent, I do work with a travel agency and send all my family and friends and community members their way. They will take great care of you just like they've taken great care of me. Please email me at cruisingwithjt@gmail.com to share what you're looking for and when, and I'll get you connected to my trusted travel advisor. Until next time, this is Cruising with JT. Be sure to hit that like button and subscribe like I mentioned if you haven't already. Have a wonderful day and see you again real soon for more cruising information and tips. Take care. And a special shout out to my Patreon and YouTube members. Thank you so much for your additional support. This video is sponsored by MEI Travel. Feel free to reach out to me at cruisingwithjt@gmail.com or checking out the contact information in the description below and reaching out to them directly. We look forward to serving you and working with you to ensure we create an experience of a lifetime.